All right, we are live here with our APL Under the Radar Double Game Week 36 preview. I'm APL Kante. I have my buddy APL Wrangler here with me. I know, Wrangler, you are sick. Uh, Thanks again for joining with me at least. How are you feeling?
Feeling okay. As you know, like today, I got tested COVID positive. So far it's all right. At least I'm able to join this video. So that's the good part. We'll see how it goes, and also excited for the next 3 weeks. Well, I was excited a way. I mean, I was excited way more than these Champions League games, but now I don't know if I'm very excited about it, but we'll see how it goes. So, how
Yeah.
about you? I know you have a like very good game week. I know that. Tell me about it.
No, yeah, it was definitely a good week. It was turned out to be a very good decision bringing in Son instead of Kane, and I captained him. So that itself got me a huge rank boost. And then on the last day of the game week, it was the Manchester United game. Um, I was expecting maybe a goal from Ronaldo, but I was never expecting a 12 pointer from Telles. So yeah, that also gave me a pretty big rank boost. I went from 68K to 34K, so 50% or half, or basically half my rank. Definitely uh, quite an achievement, I would say, at this stage of the season, right? So not easy. So yeah, I was happy, and I was by no means I was expecting that. So I was lucky in a lot of aspects that it all played out well. But yeah, it will be of course game week 36 is going to be difficult for us. Neither of us are playing a cheap. I think about 40% of the top 10K or top 100K are playing bench boost. A few people are playing free hits. So this is going to be kind of weak for damage limitation for us, right? So we see at least kind of, if possible, maintain the rank. If we go down, not too big of a red arrow. That's essentially going to be our target. And we'll talk about that when we talk about our teams. Uh, of course, although we are not playing chips, but our target would be to get as close to as possible to kind of a free hit-ish team, right? So basically, whatever whoever the highest one player would be on a free hit, something like that. And of course, nothing to do with bench boost. So who, people who have a good bench already set up, they'll do well. But I think also some of the people will have to take hits, right, to have a decent bench. Not everyone played their wildcard late. Even if everyone, some of them did, there are of course changes. So I see a lot of people taking hits for playing their bench boost. It's not all positive gain. But anyways, yeah. So I'm also very very excited for this game week, and 37 and 38. It's all coming to the end. Feels like a very very long season, right? Like I cannot even recall when this season started. It feels so long ago, right? When we had Antonio and Ings in our game week one squad. Feels like forever, like a long, long time ago. But anyway, so let's get into it. Of course, we'll be kind of highlighting game week 36, double game week 36, big double, biggest double of the season, actually. So we'll mostly highlight on that. We will talk about the fixtures, 36 and a little bit beyond that, 37 and 38. We'll try to cover the teams to target and the players to target for this game week. And of course, we'll talk about our team selection. And in the middle of that, we'll talk a little bit about the captaincy options for this game week as well. All right. So first thing first, the fixtures. So this is from Legomane. What the colors are essentially, they are showing the rest period. Of course, there are a lot of things happening. FA Cup final is there for Chelsea and Liverpool right after game week 36, between 36 and 37. There are European finals, or going to be European finals, none anymore. So the Champions League final would be after game week 38. I think a week after game week 38, so that doesn't impact anymore. But anyway, so this week, as we all know, there are 12 teams doubling in game week 36. Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, So the big boys in the league, so the toppers, top three teams of the league, all are doubling. Leicester City, Spurs, Arsenal, Leeds, Everton, Aston Villa, Wolves, Norwich, and Watford. So 12 teams out of the 20 are doubling this week. Um, and then, of course, another kind of plot that I'm or picture that I'm showing here is the kind of the combination for the free hit 37. So again, both of us are kind of in that route, at least so far. It may change in the next couple of days, but at least right now our plan is to free hit in 37. And whether you are free hitting in 36 or 37, of course, if you're free hitting in 36, you know what you want to do. But if you are free hitting in 37, it's kind of a good way to look at the fixtures, because whoever you are bringing in for 36, you want them to have good fixtures in 38 also, right? So basically, you take 37 out of the picture and just look at the 36 fixtures and 38 fixtures. And there are number of teams, bunch of teams who have or who are doubling this week in 36 and have very decent fixtures in 38, right? So if you look at Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, again, all good teams, of course, also basically top four contender, they all double in 36 and they all have very, very good fixtures in 38, right? So um, that's what basically we were talking about earlier today also, right? So if you want to take a few hits to set up your team for 36, very likely that will set up your team very well, very nicely for 38 too. So don't bother too much like taking like a, or worry too much taking a -4 or -8 hit. If it sets up your team well for 36 and 38, it's okay, at least at this stage of that season. Again, depends if you are chasing or if you are protecting your rank, but wherever you're chasing from, if you are chasing, I think it's okay to take a few hits here and there. Um, One of the biggest concerns this week is, of course, the rotation risk, right? Especially with the big teams. So, of course, they have very good fixtures. Um, Biggest concern is probably Chelsea because they play their FA Cup final 3 days after the Leeds game, right? So we have been talking about it for some time that it could be a heavily rotated Chelsea squad. I don't know necessarily as a Chelsea fan that how much rotation we'll see, but maybe a few players here and there will get benched for the Leeds fixture. I still expect them to field a very strong 11, but maybe two or three players kind of gets benched or gets rested in that fixture. Man City is interesting, right? So they just went out of the Champions League yesterday. Kind of almost cruel to them. They were leading until the 90th minute, and then they considered three goals in the extra time, and then in the or the injury time, and then in the extra time. So that was kind of cruel on them. So of course there is a lot of narrative out there, right? Like, uh, are they mentally down? Can they recover from that fast enough? And of course, these are all professional players, so I do expect them to recover psychologically and physically. But still, it's Man City, so it's always pep roulette. So we never know who is going to play. Defense is probably more sorted out, especially with the defensive injuries. But the front line is almost impossible to guess, right? Anyone's guess, essentially, whether it's Mahrez, Jesus, Sterling, Grealish, Foden, too many options, right? So basically, six players fighting for three spots, something like that. So it's always hard to guess, and especially harder to guess who plays both games or who starts both games, right? So that's something will be kind of concern for the FPL managers. Liverpool is probably a little easier, but they might get some rotation also. So they went to the Champions League final and they have the FA Cup final right after 36 as well. They have a little more rest than Chelsea, but still they can. We can see some rotation. People like Robertson, right? So can easily get a rest. He hasn't. He has been playing forever, every game. So it's about time that Robertson, someone like Robertson, gets a rest. Mane maybe, right, gets his rest. Salah and Trent got their rest in the previous game week, so we can expect a few more rests or benching here and there. So that's basically where we are. So that's basically the state of the game that we are talking about. One thing maybe Leicester. So again, their double is probably one of the best in this game week. Everton and Norwich at home, both at home, both very good fixtures, especially from attacking perspective. But they just played in the Europa Conference League today, right? So and they have less than 72 hours of rest before the Everton game. So we can again expect few rotations in that game or benching in that game. Leicester has not doesn't have a lot to play for in the league either. So especially people like Madison, it's very hard to predict whether he will start against Everton or not. I do expect the Norwich game to be kind of a full strength 11 for Leicester, but the Everton game is kind of hard to predict who will start and not. Vardy is back too, so Iheanacho is there, Daka is there, Lookman, Burns. So again, Leicester is kind of like in the Man City kind of team from a prediction standpoint who starts in the front line. Very good again. So that's basically the dilemma for all of us, right? The good teams or good-ish teams have good fixtures, but do we know who plays both the games in the double game week, right? So that's the dilemma. Any take on this, Wrangler?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. But how about, like, we discuss team by team as well here, like, since
Yeah, we'll do that
inside
in the fixture when we talk about the EXG
fixture.
and so yeah,
Okay, because I
yeah,
was just thinking, like, I mean, for say Man City, you said different rotation risks, but we should probably also discuss, like, which
yeah,
players
sure.
we think that, I mean, if you think about nailness,
Hmm.
people have a lot of dilemmas, right? So at least we can
Great,
talk about
sure.
our thoughts. So we can say it
Let's
here,
do
or
that.
we can see in the fixture too.
Yeah,
However,
no, yeah, let's do that. We can do that here. That's fine. Let's do that.
okay. So yeah, so Man City, right? I mean, I think Cancelo, everybody has it. I think, or most of the
Hmm.
engaged manager has it, right? Now people are thinking, we're thinking triple up, right? This was one of the best fixture for Man City,
Hmm.
right? Now they are kind of hesitant, like, which one to pick, right? Because of these X minutes, and they had this devastating, UCL results, right? But still, it's Man City, right? As you said, they're
Yeah.
professional, they are still in the title race. Now, what do you think, right? I mean, in terms of the second or third pick, which one would you prefer, or like prioritize?
Yeah, I think, yeah, as I said before, so the defensive picks are a little easier to predict. So the likes of Laporte and Diaz, especially if Stones is out injured. So we'll have to wait for the pressure, of course, for that. If Stones is out, I just don't see either of Diaz or Stones, or sorry, Laporte getting benched in any of the games. So they are kind of the easier to predict. So Laporte is also pretty highly owned. So yeah, of course, matters. Diaz can be a very good differential if you want to go that route. So yeah, one of them alongside Cancelo. And on the front line, I think if KDB is fit, he would or should be kind of nailed to start both the games. But again, he's pricey, right? Not everyone can afford him, especially without a free hit or a wild card at this point of the season. So it needs a lot of surgery. Yeah, most likely, it needs a lot of surgery, right? So you can go definitely to like a Jesus or a Mares or a Foden, but that's where the dilemma is, right? For that spot specifically. So if you can, if you don't, if money is not an issue, I would say Cancelo, Laporte slash Diaz, and KDB. Those would be the three top picks.
Yeah, same here. I also agree that. I mean, I would probably prefer KDB over Laporte because of his upside. And if I bring KDB, I will probably captain him as well. If I
Hmm.
know that he's fit, and even if he
Correct.
plays like 70 minutes, I think I mean, I might take that chance because their fixtures are good.
Yeah.
I mean, Newcastle is a tough team, but they're playing home, right?
Hmm.
And also there is Wolves. Jesus and Mahrez is an interesting pick. So, I mean, Jesus, I think he plays. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think.
Luke also thinks so that Jesus is
Yeah,
in the
I think he
best
plays.
11. Yeah.
Right, Mahrez, I think he's gonna definitely start one of them, and another one he might have a cameo, or might be, minute manage.
Hmm.
But so some people might had Starling. You remember that? Like,
Yeah.
there was an, like, some people thought to have Starling in game weeks ago. So if those people, should they hold Starling?
I don't think so. I would not.
So
Either if KDB is fit, go from a Sterling to KDB. It sounds like a sideway move, but Sterling just doesn't look in form. You feel
okay.
that sometimes, like with players, with big players also. So
What do you think about
he's yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I
And the
agree.
Sterling to Son maybe, right? If you can don't
Yes.
want to go to
That's the best.
KDB, if you don't have Son or if you don't have a Spurs cover, definitely Sterling to
Also
Son
EO
is a
covers too,
yeah,
because Son, and also like, yeah, as you said, right, you have to think about 38 as well. Those who are playing 36, they have good fixture in 38 as well. And Son
correct.
is the captaincy option actually against
Yeah.
Norwich in 38, and he's in the golden boot race as well, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I agree with that. What about Ake? Do you think, like, he takes
Yeah, I
like
think again, like, yeah, Luke thinks that if Walker is out, uh, when Cancelo is playing right back, Pep prefers AK as the left back over Zinchenko any day. So, but again, the thing is that whether he plays both games or not, he might just play
Mhm.
Zinchenko in one of the games easily, right? It doesn't probably matter a whole lot. The delta is not really that big, even from a
Right.
coaching standpoint, right? Managing standpoint. So,
Okay.
mm, yeah, I would not go there, I think.
Okay. So yeah, so Cancelo, KDB, and Laporte, and differential pick is Jesus probably.
Yep.
Okay. So Liverpool, I think one thing I would like to discuss is Robertson,
Mhm.
right? There is a like very good speculation that he might get rested um, in one of the games before the FA Cup final, and people
Yep.
are speculating probably it's going to be Aston Villa game,
Mhm.
depending on the result. It happens with the Tottenham. So what do
Right.
you think? Like, do you think Robbo to Matip or even Laporte? A lot of people are thinking about it. What do you think about it?
I don't necessarily like it. I mean, of course, there is, if you have to use the fund somewhere else, better use of the fund somewhere else, maybe. If you want to fund a KDB or a Son or maybe like a Richarlison, maybe, just maybe, but still, I think, I mean, Robo is Robo, right? I mean, I know people have been talking about the value per million or something like that for Matip. But I just don't see the upside of that particular move, right? It's kind of an enabling move. I don't like the Robertson to Matip move in itself, but if it enables something that you want to do for
Hmm.
KDB or Son or Richarlison, maybe not the worst thing in the world.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And also, like, I mean, looks like he's preferred option in the league, right?
Mhm.
While Konate is in the
Yeah, I think he's going to start both. Yeah.
right. So if there is a confusion, and if he enables some fund to get Son or KDB, I think that's probably
Hmm.
reasonable, right? Okay, so let's go to the Chelsea. They have the best two fixture, right?
Hmm.
We're gonna see in the later as well XD chart, Wolves and Leeds. But the problem is they have only 2 days, right, after the Leeds game and the FA Cup final, right?
Yep.
So you're a Chelsea fan. What do you think? Like, a lot of people are loaded up with Chelsea, right?
Hmm.
Especially like Reece James, Alonso, and either Kai or Mount, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, again, I think Kai. I mean, those who have Kai probably they can remove it, I guess. But I mean, I think you said that Mount probably is going to start, right? So what's your thought about the Chelsea?
Yeah, I definitely expect Mount to start both games. He might be hooked off early in the
Mhm.
Leeds game if we're winning by then. And also, it depends on the results of the first game itself, right? If we somehow lose points against Wolves, then we are in trouble, right?
Mhm.
If Arsenal wins and if Tottenham can easily beat Liverpool on their day, right? So it really depends on those first set of results. So if the results don't go Chelsea's way, I don't see any rotation, to be honest, in the Leeds game, right? We just have to field our best 11, all
Mhm.
right? So, I mean, well, rotation and resting are two different things, right? You can rotate for tactical reasons, of course, that's a different thing. Say someone like a Timo Werner can definitely be rotated against one of these teams, but that's another thing. But benching or resting, I don't think so. That's going to happen. But even if we do win against Wolves, I do see again for team structure purpose. I see Alonso starting. I see even James Reese starting. I know a lot of people are not too confident with Reese, but I think at least that's what I believe would happen is that he starts in right wing back in the Wolves game because now he has a week's rest, and then he just starts as the right center back against Leeds. But I do think that he starts both. Um, and then in the front, I think Mount starts both. Kai probably also should get decent minutes, 120 plus, 120 to 150, somewhere in that ballpark. Timo and Ziyech and Pulisic, they probably share the minutes for the other position in the front line. So that's the hard position to call. But I do think that popular FPL assets, Alonso, Reis, Mount, Kai, all of them should still get decent minutes in the double game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, whenever I made this transfer before, my plan was to move Mount out and get Foden
Mhm.
in 36, and also Reece James out and get Laporte. That was my plan, because at that time, like I was thinking, that again City triple up, but after this Foden 120 minutes,
Mhm.
and the league state of Chelsea now, I
It
don't
has
know.
all changed, yeah.
Yeah, completely changed. But I mean, it would be really good for the Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea, like who have Chelsea loaded up. It's very good fixture. If you, even if they play one like game,
Easily.
it could be massacre, right? So
Mhm.
let's hope for the best. Leicester City, I think Madison Burns, they're out of the like Europa Conference League right now, right?
Mhm.
So do you think, like, anyone intrigue you, like, out of this?
Uh, Not really. Again, the issue is that they have so many attackers. Maybe someone like a Lookman, but who is going to go to a Lookman over like
But
all
if
the other
anyone say
good
have
assets, right?
Barnes or Madison, what should they do? What do you think?
Madison is a keep. I think Madison is the only keep. Like if you have him, I have KDH. I mean, there
Mm-hmm.
is no point in removing him, so KDH is a keep. Barnes, really, I'm not sure. I mean, he just doesn't look like to be in the best 11 for Leicester anymore. He was hooked at halftime today. He was really, really poor in the first half. So I was watching the game, so he was very poor. I don't think even if Barnes starts the first game against Everton, very likely that he doesn't even start against Norwich. That's where you want your players to start, right? And I think Madison probably starts from the bench in the Everton game, but he starts the Norwich game, which is a very good matchup for Leicester at home. So Madison is definitely a keep, 100% keep. Barnes, probably if you have a better player to go to, if you have a transfer to spare, I would probably move Barnes out most likely. Vardy is enticing, but again, he definitely won't start both the games in 36. He's just kind of a like, wait and watch. If you are free hitting or not free hitting or whatever, 37, you might want to go there, but yeah, Vardy is probably not an option either. Iheanacho or Daka, again, kind of, it's very
Yeah,
hard to predict who starts and who does not. So
I think
I would not go there.
Barnes and Madison are the like we can also Schmeichel. A
Yeah.
lot of people are probably thinking Schmeichel
Schmeichel,
because
100%, yeah. If
yeah,
you have Schmeichel, he's the only player that plays all the games. Yeah,
right. And these two fixtures are so good, right? Everton and Norwich. I mean,
yeah,
as you said, like if Madison have one game, he
yeah,
might get
yeah.
hot.
Yeah, any other time of the season, we would be talking about tripling up on Leicester City first thing.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah.
So let's move to the Sparks.
Mhm.
Kulusevski, if anyone have you hold.
I think, well, yes. So you have the minute secured. So I'm pretty sure he was benched in the last game, but I'm pretty sure from now on he just starts every game. I don't
Yep.
think Conte can afford to bench him. So he starts. So you have the minutes, and if Son and Ken gets returns, there is a very high likelihood that Kulusevski is somehow involved. And they have very good fixtures in 37 and 38, right? So especially for people who are not free hitting in 37, 37 is a very good fixture against Burnley, and then 38 against Norwich, right? So yeah, I would probably keep him if I could. Yeah.
Okay.
Just that minutes, right? That again, since we are talking about all this X minutes thing, it's just so hard to predict, right? For the big teams, like if you move out from a Kulsevsky to Foden, maybe, right? Are you sure that he'll play? Right? It's just
Yeah.
not there. So only player I would move out from Kulsevsky in that price bracket is probably Saka. Um,
Yeah.
Again, he has good fixtures this game week, decent fixtures. Leeds is a very, very good matchup for Saka. and then Newcastle and Everton in 37 and 38, which are also decent fixtures. 38 especially is a very good fixture. It's against Everton at home. So yeah, that's the only reason I would move out Kulusevski, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, as you said, just only for Saka, I think
Mhm.
he can be moved out. Let's don't talk about Saka, Kane and Son. I mean, that's a
Yeah,
debatable thing. So let's keep that. Arsenal, Martinelli, a lot of people, it's out, I guess.
yeah. Most of the Arsenal supporters thinks that he starts only one. If it's the Leeds game, it's a good matchup again for
Hmm.
Martinelli. He actually scored, or I think he scored a brace earlier in the season or something like that. I forgot,
He
but
has
he
only
hauled.
one brace. I think that's the
Yeah,
one.
he hauled pretty big in the Leeds game earlier in the season. So it's a good matchup, but he again is just that minute risk with ESR lurking around. So
Mm.
yeah, I just don't know which game he will start. So I am definitely planning to transfer him out.
Yeah, yeah, and NKTS seems a very popular one recently. Looks like, at least in the
Hmm.
Twitter, I see that. So, and
Hmm.
also, like, I mean, I think he's gonna be a popular move too. And as you said right
Yeah.
before that, probably he's preferred over Lacazette.
Yeah, he's a good enabler at 5.5 millions
Yeah.
only. I think he went up to 5.6 tonight. But yeah, still a very good enabler. And then um, Lacazette, I don't think is going to start anymore this season. Yes, he's not in the good books of Arteta anymore. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and Everton, I think Richarlison and Gordon. Those are the two options, right? Do you see any other player?
Uh, no,
Holgate or
maybe a Pickford if you are
oh
on a
yeah,
free hit or
Pickford.
something like that.
Yeah, yeah, or
Again,
maybe
decent fixtures, right? Leicester and Watford, decent
yeah.
fixtures. Both away games. So Everton has been very poor. They have only had 6 points all season, only one win and three draws. That's their record, away record.
Mhm.
So their away record is very, very poor. So that's the only thing that concerns me. But on paper, they are still good fixtures. Leicester, a tired Leicester and a Watford.
Mhm. So yeah, I just wanted to cover last one, Aston Villa maybe.
Mhm.
They have double double. Now those who doesn't have free hit, right? I think like a lot of people had I mean people got Coutinho, right?
Coutinho,
Because of the
mhm, or
Norwich fixture.
Watkins. Yeah,
Or Watkins. I think it's a hold. Those who don't
100%.
have
Yeah.
free hit, but those who has free hit, do you think Coutinho is a sell this week?
I think so. Yeah, I would. So
Okay. Watkins, what about Watkins? Would you do Watkins to Richardson?
mm,
They actually
tougher
have one good
choice.
fixture by the way. Burnley is a good fixture by the way.
Burnley is a decent fixture. Yeah, yeah, tougher. That one is tougher. Coutinho, more of a move out because there are better options in midfield.
Hmm.
Watkins is on penalties too, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of is positive. Maybe Watkins is a little bit more hold than Coutinho. Coutinho is a go, I think. If you're on free hit
Yeah.
37, is a go.
I think so. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry. I mean, I just thought to cover this because those are the
a good
dilemmas people
discussion.
have.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I thought to discuss it here, then later. So yeah, I think we can move on. I
Okay.
That's
No,
a
good
lot.
discussion. Thanks for doing
Yeah.
that. So again, I mean, mostly same discussion, and we'll talk about the matchups a little more next too. But as we expect, so City, Liverpool, and Chelsea, they have good fixtures, and they're supposed to win pretty easily all their games. Um, but I think the interesting one, of course, would be the North London Derby. That's the last game of the game week. Spurs Arsenal. I do expect it to be a close game. It can go either way, right? We were just talking before we started recording. Like it depends really on who scores the first goal. Arsenal will probably be a little more defensive, especially if they win their game against Leeds and Tottenham loses against Liverpool. So the point gap, I think, would be five. Arsenal would be on 66 and Tottenham would be on 61. So Arsenal can afford to kind of play a little defensive on the back foot, just don't concede, get a draw out of that game, right? The North London Derby. So it can go either way, to be honest. So it's a hard game to predict. But yeah, but it can be very cagey or it can be very open. So depends.
Yeah, our
Um,
models are predicting pretty like I mean it's pretty bullish on the big teams. It
yeah,
looks like 2 or 3 goals. So
yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
yeah. Arsenal's first game against Leeds is a very good matchup, and
Yeah.
they actually did pretty well against Leeds earlier in the season, as I was saying. So that's a very good matchup. Just even as a single game week, it would have been a very good matchup. And of course, Man City and Liverpool are always good attackingly, so nothing to talk much about there. Leicester, as we were saying, right? So Leicester Norwich is a very very good matchup. Leicester, so they're expected to score 2+ goals. Norwich is still a team to target. They're already relegated. I'm not even sure what they're playing for, right? So
Mhm.
anyone that's playing against Norwich, it's a very very good fixture. Even the West Ham game, although they only have a single game, it's a good fixture. I mean, of course, I don't think anyone would bother keeping Bowen so this far, but it can turn out to be a very good fixture for West Ham, that Norwich game. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything else stands out?
No, let's move on. I think it's
Okay.
pretty good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the matchups for game week 36. So we covered most of it, but you want to talk about anything specific for the?
No, I think yeah. I mean, we already talked about it, right? I mean,
Mhm,
here basically it's each team's XG and their opponent's XG considered. So the teams in the top right quadrant basically is a good fixture because this means that these are the good attacking team, and also their opponent has bad defense, right?
mhm,
So that Chelsea, as we discussed, right, both of their fixtures are good. Arsenal has one good fixture against Leeds, but another one is Tottenham.
mhm,
Tottenham has both difficult fixture, right? Arsenal and Liverpool. And Man City, I mean, one of them is Wolves. Newcastle recently did pretty well, right? So that's why, like Newcastle's XG considered number is low, but again, Man City is Man City, and they're playing home, so I think it's a good fixture too.
mhm,
Liverpool's both fixture are a little bit like tricky. Again, they're attacking wise they're good, but they're playing against Tottenham, and Villa's defensive number is good too. But again, it's Liverpool.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, again, big teams are playing. I mean,
weak
their fixtures
games
are good.
mostly. Yeah.
Here, Leicester City and Everton are also like their attacking numbers are not very promising, but again, their opponent's defense are not good either, right? As you said, like Norwich or Watford, even Leicester City's defense also, or even Everton, right? Both of them are like their defense is not like they're playing each other, right? This week, so those are good. So that's why, like I mean, Everton discussion comes here, right? And they also have double doubles. So those who don't have free hit, they will probably load up at least one or two, like Richard Leeson and Corbin.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, and also Wolves have double game week, but nobody really are interested, as you see, right? It's they're playing against City and Chelsea, which is very difficult fixture. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I think yeah, we covered it pretty well before. So
What do you think about Norwich's fixture? Norwich's opponents also kind of seem to be in the bad defense, right? So, and a
Norwich is
lot of
playing
people are
against
probably
Leicester City and
West Ham, I think, right? That's what we're
West
talking
Ham.
about.
Nah, I mean, only Pookie
West Ham
maybe.
home.
I mean, we'll see in the next slide. Pookie's number is good,
Uh-huh.
and he's an enabler, right? So I think if anyone wants to get KDB like selling Kane, I mean, I would not probably do that. But again, we'll see in the next slide. Pookie's number is good, by the way. But as you mentioned in one of your tweets, I remembered that
Mhm.
he has the rotation risk too, right? I mean, I think
Yeah,
last
especially
time.
since they already got relegated. Yeah,
Exactly. So there is nothing to play for. I mean, I don't think they're gonna play defensively. They will try to play like normal game.
open game. Yeah,
It's a good fixture for their opponents, to be honest. I mean, I
yeah,
don't.
absolutely. Yeah,
So, but
yeah.
yeah, I mean,
I'm especially the Leicester Norwich fixture really intrigues me, and since Leicester went out today, I'll be very interested to hear from Rogers what he says about their motivation in the league. Like at some point he did say that he still wants to try for the European position. But yeah, that'll be interesting, especially the Norwich game intrigues me. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about the players to target. So we are talking about the attackers first. So of course Salah is kind of in his own world, a little bit skewed by the penalties that he got in this time frame, right? I think three penalties, right?
penalties,
If
yeah.
I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So that kind of skews the number a little bit. But even without the penalties, his numbers would be better than anyone else on this chart. Who else do you think are the prime targets for this game week, especially?
So yeah, De Bruyne, right? I mean, as you can see, he has. I mean, he's a like he returns every other games, right? And he's the talisman, right? So his assist potential is there, right? And he's more nailed than other city mid or attackers too, right? So one player I can think of is De Bruyne. Kulusevski's assist number is good, but again, I mean, we just talked about it, right? He's not a buy. If you have him, you hold. Otherwise, I think Saka is definitely a good option. I mean, he's probably one of the captaincy shout too, because it's Leeds game,
Yeah.
right? And it's a differential one. Son also is in different world, right? In decent form. So people are even like these two games. It could be a Son game, right? I mean, both of the games could be Son games, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think Salah. Everybody have Kane. There is a. I don't even. I'm also having this dilemma. Should I like remove Kane and get De Bruyne because De Bruyne's fixture is good. But yeah, and also I think Foden has been frustrating recently. As you can see, his number recently kind of degraded.
Hmm.
But I mean, whenever you see him playing, he's so versatile, right? It's just he has been playing for a long time. He's really Pep's
Yeah.
favorite. He has been playing 120 minutes. Even last game also he played, which I didn't expect. I really expected he's gonna be rested, but
Hmm.
he played in the midfield role. So um, I don't know. Foden is a good pick, but I'm not sure about. Is this game week is kind of predicting X minutes? I think more of so. That's my thought. Mane is a good differential pick, by the way. If anyone free hits, I think Mane should be in the free hit draft. If anyone even free hits this week,
Yeah.
especially Robertson's, since Robertson has now like kind of rotation risk. I think people can double up with Mane and
Hmm.
Salah if they can. That's one of these. Even
Upside moves. Yeah.
yes, I can think of.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you
Exactly.
have any other thought here?
Uh, no, I think we covered it pretty well. I have Dennis, but I'm not expecting a whole lot from him, to be honest. And
Fixture
if he
is good by
doubles,
the way, Dennis's.
yeah, it's okay. It's okay. At least last few games, he looks good. Whenever I see him, he's like a true grass FC player, right? So his numbers you will never see up like in the top row, but whenever you see him play, he looks good, right? He always have. So yeah, I'm
They
not
still have
expecting
chance,
him
though, right? I mean, Watford still have chance to qualify. Or
to avoid relegation. I mean,
yeah,
small chance, very small mathematical chance. I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah.
yeah. So it's basically Leeds versus Burnley versus Everton, right? Those are the three teams. I think.
Yeah, mathematically, a few other teams can also get relegated, including Brentford, Southampton, Aston Villa. So everyone is on 40 points, I think. So the barrier is essentially 40. So it can get very close actually. By game week 38, it can get very close among so like 5 6 teams possible. But anyway, so what do you think about Rafinha? Is this a sell if you have him
It
this game week?
depends. Like again, only for Saka maybe.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I think
Yeah,
he's a
again,
goal.
you have like 180 minutes secure from Rafinha, right? He
Yes,
starts, he's on
and
penalties.
they are playing for
Um,
something, right? They have the urgency.
yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It's a very tough game week for them, of course, but they have to get points also, right? So
I
I
think
think, yeah,
I personally think that they're gonna score even against
mm,
Chelsea. That's my personal thought,
yeah, yeah.
but we'll see.
Okay, not much to talk about. We spoke about Coutinho. Coutinho's stats are okay, just about okay, right? So of course for 37, because of the fixtures, it's very enticing on a free hit or non-free hit. So that's why we were saying that if you have him, keep him. The non-free hitters, if you're a free hitter, probably let him go and get him back in 37. 38, Aston Villa plays against two,
City.
City. So that's a tough fixture. So yeah, that's another reason to get rid of him, to be honest. So, anyways, yeah, not. much else to talk about here. Let's go to the next one where we talk about defenders. Again, Alonso is kind of in his own world. And I was looking at the non-penalty XG. I was trying to look at actually at the non-penalty XG and XGI of the attackers. And then Alonso appeared on the chart, right? And like it was like basically 30 attackers and then Alonso on the top 30. So he plays like an attacker basically. Like anytime you see him on the field, he is right on that corner of the box or inside the box. He is basically an attacker, right? So he is from an FPL perspective, he's very good. Not much from Chelsea's defensive perspective,
Mhm.
but from an FPL perspective, he's gold. So I know you have him, and as we said before, I think he's a definite hold. They have a very good fixture in 38 against Watford, if I'm not wrong, and then 36 very good fixtures, and I think he almost has to start both given the players that we have right now. Chelsea has right now. I think Alonso has to start both. Uh, who else do you think are players to target? Of course, doesn't we don't need to talk about Cancelo or Trent and so on. Who are the other defenders that entice you for 36 specifically?
No one.
Yeah.
Basically, Robertson definitely, if he would be rested in one of the games earlier or even Champions League, I was
Mhm.
expecting he's gonna get be rested in the Champions League, but I don't know. I mean, that's the
Mhm.
problem. Otherwise, I think he would be a very good pick.
Yeah.
Those who didn't have Robertson, if Robertson would be rested in one of the games before, even I think
Mhm.
you were planning to get Robertson, I think this week, right?
Yeah.
But
Some
now
point I was.
everything changed, so we are even thinking to sell him. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think no one, as I said. I mean, Alonso. I know even a lot of people actually even getting Alonso. I mean, although he has or Chelsea has rotation list, but
Numbers are there, right? So why not?
numbers are there. I mean,
Yeah.
he is really, and also again 38 fixture. People are thinking about 38 too, right? Those who are
Mhm.
feeding. Even their 37 fixture is good too, right?
Yeah.
So that's why actually, like those are hold or I mean even buy in, right?
Hmm.
Robertson is a tricky one. Trent, everybody have. Cancelo's number is really kind of frustrating. I mean, he looks dazzling on the pitch, right? If you remember, there was another data like he's successful, like final third passes. He's way ahead. Well, he and Reece James,
Hmm.
but still, right? I mean, his returns are not really expected. He takes a lot of shot, but I
Yeah, I think
wish.
someone tweeted out, I forgot who it was, but basically 8 out of his 9 returns are from when he plays in the left wing back or left back role. Whenever Walker is not in the team, he has to play right back. His actual attacking returns are not that good. So he looks good. Still, he looks good on the field. He still is a playmaker and so on.
Mhm.
But his attacking returns are actually not that good. So, but yeah, I mean, he's a keep. He is probably the one defender that
And I think
starts everything.
Walker's injury again is a big blow for Cancelo owners because you
Yeah,
mentioned
from an
whenever
attacking
because
perspective, yeah, yeah.
I think
Mm.
City's attacking from the left side is more prominent, right? If you see all the tap ins are from
Mm.
right hand side usually.
Yeah, that's the area they target generally. Yeah.
Exactly. So when
Mm.
Cancelo plays in the left hand side, that's really kind of very like enticing for the owners. But otherwise, whenever he plays right, you hold definitely because of his EO and he plays good. But I don't
Mhm.
think he's a good captaincy shout though this week, right? So we'll see. But otherwise, I
Yeah.
think yeah, I don't see anyone else here.
Yeah,
Uh,
Reese is of course there. So he has been another very frustrating one, of course, for both of us
yeah.
over the last few weeks. Uh, do you move him out for someone like Laporte?
I was, as I told you, right? I was planning first,
Mhm.
but now I don't know. I mean, I James has more upside, right,
Yeah, I
against
think
Wolves and
yeah,
Leeds.
yeah.
So his one
If
game
he
is
plays
enough.
one, he can easily go big, like a 12 pointer, 18 pointer, easy
Yeah, and also they're playing Watford at home
in
in
38. Yeah.
38. So
Mhm.
I really don't want to sell him. Looks like.
I think he's a keep for me, 100% keep for me. Even if he plays one, I'm okay with that. You cannot expect all your doublers to play both or play 180 minutes and so on. I still expect him to start both, maybe one as right wing back, one as right center back, something like that. But yeah, either way, he's a keep for me. I just don't see any of the other defenders uh, worth the -4 going from James to them, right? So it just doesn't make sense to me. Uh, all right, move on.
Yep, let's move on to the teams.
All right, so let's talk about our team. So this is my team. I'll just read it out for everyone first. So I have Ramsdale, Cancelo, Trent, James, Martinelli, Salah. My captaincy is on him right now. Saka, Son, KDH, Ronaldo, and Dennis. So my sacrifices this week are pretty straightforward. One is Ronaldo. Of course, he has the single game week. He has done his job over the last 3 game weeks. So just time for him to go. And then the other sacrifice I'm making is Martinelli, as we spoke about earlier. I do expect him to get rested in one, or basically at least benched in one of the Leeds or Tottenham game. It's just kind of hard to predict. And honestly, his numbers are not that great either. At least in the recent times, it has significantly declined. He's still a good player. He has this explosiveness. On his day, he can do something, but I think there are better players elsewhere, or at least that fits my transfer plan. So it's a Martinelli is kind of a transfer out for me as well. So right now, I'm thinking, or at least over the last week, pretty much, I was thinking Ronaldo plus Martinelli to Nketiah and De Bruyne for a -4. After Manchester City's game yesterday, and of course the way De Bruyne performed and that he was hooked at 72 minutes, uh, it's kind of a little more confusing after that game, and we don't know yet if KDB actually has an injury or not. If he doesn't, I think I still 100% go for this. If he does have an eagle or something, or Pep says that okay, he may play, may not play, or something like that, any confusion, I think it'll be very hard for me to go this route, right? You don't want your 12 million player to play one game, right? Especially someone if you are transferring in for a hit also. It just wouldn't make sense. So then, of course, and we'll look at your transfer moves also. It will be very much in the same ballpark. So of course, if I don't get KDB, I want one of the Man City attackers at least. So it could be Jesus or Mahrez. All of them have good numbers. It's just about predicting the X minutes. Luke expects Jesus to start both. Mahrez probably starts one. Foden, I still believe starts both, so we'll have to see. We'll decide that close to deadline if I don't go for KDB. Um, but yeah, that's essentially my route. And Richarlison is another transfer target outside of the Man City boys. So again, if I don't go to KDB route, it could be something like a Richarlison plus Mahrez slash Foden, or it can be Jesus plus Mahrez or Foden or something like that. So I will have enough money to more than enough money to do any of those moves. So money would not be a problem. But yeah, my heart is still on this move. If uh, I don't hear anything negative about KDB on his health, I'm not too worried about that. He had a bad game against Real Madrid. It's Real Madrid. It's UCL semi-final, right? So that can happen to any player, any big player. So I'm not. He's not all of a sudden a bad player or anything, right? So as long as he is fit, I am almost 95% sure that I'm going to do this.
Yeah, I personally think that again his minutes will be managed in that way because I don't think he's fully fit though. Like Pep also mentioned
Yeah.
that in one of his pressers that he has some ankle issue, right? But he's one of the players that he has to play. So I
Hmm.
think even in the double game week, he's gonna play probably 140, 150 minutes likewise.
Yeah.
So but I think he's gonna start. I mean, last game was kind of high voltage game, as I told you. They had to do defensive work too, right?
Hmm.
Against Madrid. So definitely there is, I mean, it's against Madrid, right? So
Yeah.
one game cannot assess him. And Pep kind of took him off, and I think it's because of this. Like he's thinking about the next busy fixture for the league as well, right?
Hmm.
So I think it's a good move. I don't see. I mean, I remember you also were thinking about -8 for Teles to Matip, but I don't think you need to do
Yeah,
that.
that move is not possible anymore because I'm priced out of that move.
Oh, okay,
So
5.2.
Matip went up, Nketiah went up. So I had point
Oh,
0.1 margin. So now I'm short by point 0.1 million. So with
so
these two, it cannot happen. But if I don't go the KDB route, then I can do something like Richarlison, Mahrez, and a Teles to Laporte or something like that. I will still have enough money to do that. Uh, the
So if
only
you,
reason to do that would be if I don't want to play KDH, right? Dewsbury Hall. I told you before. So that's basically the weakest link probably in my team, right? So if I don't want to play KDH, but at the same time, same thing, right? Does really Laporte have that upside of taking a -4 hit just not to play KDH, right? I don't think he has that, right? If it was a Robertson, 100%, I would do that, and that was my kind of primary move also, right? If I was taking a -8, I was always going to get Robertson in for Tellus. Maybe Alonso. Uh, yeah,
one
I
thing
think
I'm thinking, you know what? Sorry to cut you off.
no,
If you
yeah.
do like say, like say NKTIA and KDB,
Mhm.
your 38 teams doesn't look good actually. I mean, you have Son, but then you have Dewsbury, I mean, KDH. You have Dennis, who is playing against
Yeah,
Chelsea.
yeah, I'll have to play 3, 4, uh,
You
two. So
have
I'll still have to make two moves. So I'll of course move out Teles,
LS2,
and I'll have to find another player essentially. So two players. I'll have still nine good players, but two
but you have
bad
to again
players.
get another heat, right?
Yeah, it will need a hit somewhere, which is okay. I'm okay with taking a hit in the area. That's not that big a deal if I can get. Or I mean, even I mean, in worst case, worst, I just play the players like the 2 pointer, 3 pointer, whatever it
Mhm.
is. I don't mind that
Yeah,
absolutely.
I
So
think about it. Like, I mean, yeah, KDB and NKTM move really looks good, but again,
same
38
thing for Richarlison though, right? Richarlison doesn't have a good fixture in 38. He plays away against Arsenal.
Arsenal.
So the
Yeah,
only actually the kind of the other than the big boys, the only team that has good fixtures this week also had good fixtures in 38 is Leicester City, right? So Leicester's fixture is pretty decent. What it was against
but I actually expect 38 Everton versus
Southampton.
Arsenal game will be open game.
Mm, depends on the league state
Yeah, I
again.
mean,
Yeah,
definitely, but
yeah,
that's why I'm saying like the league state will be probably in that way that it could be an open game.
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, think about it because I mean then because NKTIA, yeah, then you'll have KDH, you'll have NKTIA
Yeah, I have. I
and
have put the
Dennis.
team in FPL review and this and that. So even if I go another route, it doesn't necessarily make the team for 38 exceptionally well or something like that. So whichever route I go,
Hmm.
I will have one or two issues with my team anyways, since I already went to Dennis last week, right? So that already kind of handicapped me a little bit. So that worked out, right? Because of the Son move,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
worked out. So
yeah.
I'm not too worried about that. So even if I have to play Dennis, but it's already paid for itself, right? So I'm not
Mhm.
too worried about that in 38.
Okay, yeah, looks good. I think yeah. I mean, I might do the same move as we can see in the next, but yeah, looks
Hmm.
good.
Okay, you want to talk about your team?
Excuse me. So yeah, I mean, my team as of now, right now, I have like you a lot of double game. I think 12 to 13 double game players already. So I have Ramsdale in goal. I have Robertson, Trent, Cancelo, James, and Alonso. It's very big in the back.
Hmm.
I have Saka. I have Mount, Salah, my captain right now. I have Martinelli and Kane. So one of the moves actually I was thinking again like you that if I get rid of Kane, then I can fund like and also Martinelli is another go, so I can get KDB and NKT. I have two free transfer, so it's gonna come free, and that could be a Son route for me too for 38. I mean, as you said, right, Son is a good captaincy shout for 38. So
Hmm.
that's one option. Another option I was thinking that since Robo has some like rotation risk, so whether I should get Matip with -4 and instead of Nketiah, I can get Richarlison if I do that. So Richarlison's have double game week and he is probably more nailed than Nketiah, maybe. I mean, uh, at least that's what I can think of. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean those are a couple of the like top, and but again there are also Mahrez, Jesus. Those are options as well as we discussed, right? So I don't know. It's about all X minutes. I really don't know what to do, but I think I'm keeping all the Chelsea boys. At least that's what I decided. So it's gonna be like Robertson, Martinelli, and Kane probably. Out of these three, probably two will go. That's my thinking right now.
Yeah, I think, I mean, out of all this, I know it's a heat, but I actually, on the face value, I like your move too, although it's a heat. But again, as we have been talking about, you also have to think about game week 38 to some extent, right? So even if you take like a Mahrez or a Jesus, anyone else other than KDB, any of the other attackers, are you sure to get minutes from them in game week 38? There is no guarantee, right? So the only player you can get guarantee from is KDB, and Richarlison is nailed. He plays 90 minutes every game. Matip also plays pretty much every game in the
But
league,
in
right? So
38, actually, I'm not planning to keep KDB by the way because my
you go back to Son, right? So
yeah. So even if Mahrez or Jesus, whoever comes, they're gonna go in 38 because I need
would you
Son.
have the money, say, if you go to Mahrez and Jesus, to go directly from Mahrez back to Son?
No, I have to again downgrade Jesus to someone.
So yeah, that's kind of a backward move, right?
Yeah,
So you are taking that minus later then anyway. So
yeah.
yeah, so yeah, even from that perspective, I really love that second one. I think that's what I know we have been talking about Robo to Matip, but we also said that it's a good enabling move. You are getting basically at least 2 games more, like so, or at least a better captaincy option in KDB this game week, and then you can get Son back in 38 without any hit, and you are getting Richarlison over Martinelli essentially, right? So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I think I like that second one.
Yeah, I think it's between Nketiah and Richarlison. Which one I trust more? I think,
Mhm.
and that will also decide like because there's -4 there, right?
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I don't know. There are a lot of options, but again, I think out of these two, I think I'll be doing
yeah, I think
something.
the -4 will kind of pay for itself this game week itself. The if especially if Robbo plays one game, you already gain the hit back
Yeah.
right there. Nketiah, of course, I mean, better team plays for a better team, Arsenal, right? So, and the Leeds matchup is very good, and I do expect Nketiah to do good in that game, the way he plays. Um, but yeah, it's one of those two. I think I know we have been talking about Mahrez, but yeah, I just don't
Yes,
feel like it's going to end well with the
too much
Mahrez or
quantity
something
as
like that.
well.
Yeah,
So
Jesus is a better option if you could get to like a KDB and a Jesus. Uh, I don't think you would have the money for that, right?
no,
Um, so
no way.
yeah, so yeah, I would have liked to do that if we could get to KDB and Jesus, but yeah, I like that. I think KDB is really some.
Okay, we are almost 1 hour, and I
Mhm.
think that's all.
Yep, good discussion. All right, so of course, good luck to everyone for the biggest double of this season. Good luck to you, Wrangler. We'll talk about more. I'm pretty sure tomorrow about our transfers, what we want to do. But apart from that, stay safe, stay well, and we'll meet back before our game week 36, 37. We'll have a preview video. We are going to have a guest for the first time in one of our videos. So stay tuned for that. Look out in Twitter. But we are very excited, of course, right, that we are going to have guests for the first time. ZD is still visiting back home. So I don't think he will be back next week either, but we'll see. Uh, but yeah, other than that, best of luck for this game week. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks.